Once you receive your TripTracker login and password, please log in to TripTracker. If you do not receive an email, contact Tanya Gunter at 337-7738. Your login username is the first initial of your first name followed by your last name. Your password is Field Trip, one word, lowercase. Notice there are 3 tabs in the upper left of the screen: Request a Trip, View Calendar, and Today. Request a Trip is where you enter all field trip requests. Things to remember when requesting a trip is no trips before 9 a.m. and none between 2 p.m. and 4:15 p.m. Trips must be made a minimum of 15 days in advance. If you are trying to request a trip at the last minute, you will need to contact Tanya. There are 9 tabs at the top of the screen. You will only use trip details and trip estimates on the initial trip request screen. At any time, you can use the Help button on the upper right hand. To start a trip, click Request a Trip. Trip name, your school name. Trip date, the date you want to be picked up. Trip type, use the drop-down arrow. There are several choices. Activity type, use the drop-down arrow. Reason for trip, left to your discretion. Account, use drop-down arrow, but this is generally your school or athletics. Requester, use the drop-down arrow. Account notes, school is responsible for all payments. Origin is the place the trip is starting from, generally your school. Departure date, date of trip. Departure time, when you want to leave, remember not before 9 a.m. and not between 1:50 and 4:15 p.m. Return date is the date you want to return, usually the same as your departure date. Return time, time you want to return back to your school site. Next section is destination. Use the drop-down arrow to pick where you want to go, or use the other option to add a new location. Arrival date is the already defaulted. Arrival time is the time arriving at the destination. Departure date is defaulted. Departure time, this is the time you will leave the destination to return to the school. You must click the Add button at the bottom of the screen. This allows the destination to be entered into the trip. This is now the chosen destination. You will also, on the right-hand side, notice Remove and Edit have appeared. You can add another destination to the trip, click back on the destination box, and add another destination to this trip. Please keep in mind that multiple destinations require you to divide the timeline requested up between the destinations. Please make sure you click the Add and Save button after your destination is added. Passenger information is the number of adults and students, wheelchairs, vehicles, if you need more than one scheduled. Contact name, your name and phone number here. Notes, any information you want to notify transportation, of example, need a bus with bins or request a specific driver. Then click Submit. Your trip will show successfully submitted at the top and the trip number will have been assigned. You will also initiate an automatic email to be sent to the requester of the field trip. Clicking on the Trip Estimate tab will open the Trip Estimate page. Here you will access your trip estimate. Please be advised that this estimated price could change as a result of trip destination, distance, and number of vehicles, and additional destinations. To clone, you have multiple field trips to enter, for instance, sporting events. Select this on the left-hand side of the screen in your toolbar. Once you have initiated the clone button, the last entered trip will appear and you may edit as needed for another trip. The View Calendar tab at the top of the screen. There are several options available on the screen. Account, trip type, activity, origin, destination, and status. Clicking on the filter will reveal all the trips based on your inputs to the above options. On the upper right portion of the tab, you may select a day, a week, or a month view. You may also print a report, add a note, or request another trip from this page. The 3-month calendar on the left will show you dates of scheduled field trips in bold.